Hello, welcome to الكرامة news channel. It is 9 p.m. our time for top stories, and we start with latest developments in the Libyan state. The death toll of martyrs killed during demonstrations in Kasha Square in Benghazi on Friday reached to 12 martyrs, according to latest data conducted by Al Hospital and Benghazi Medical Center. A medical source stressed that the number of martyrs has risen, according to data by Benghazi Medical Center, to 8, while Al Hospital announced that 4 others were also martyred in the same incident. The source said that Benghazi Medical Center received 25 injured people. Some of them left the hospital after receiving treatment. Moreover, Al Hospital received 14 wounded people. 6 of them left after receiving treatment. Parliament postponed the session, which was scheduled to be held on Monday, to consider the dialogue developments and the emergency situation in the country, especially what happened in Kasha Square of Benghazi last Friday. Citizens called on Parliament to assume its responsibilities and refuse to continue the dialogue. For his part, Parliament member Gaballah Al-Tawarghi denounced the ignorance of the international community to bulldozers loaded with ammunition in support of terrorist militia. Al-Tawarghi stressed that Parliament derives its legitimacy from the Libyan street, declaring that the best solution to overcome the current stage is the implementation of the roadmap as a substitute for dialogue. Air Force Commander Major General Sagri al-Jiroushi announced that 9 military fighter jets launched strikes on positions of terrorist groups in Benghazi city. Al-Jiroushi added that those strikes came in response to the terrorist attacks on an unarmed demonstration in the city that left about 49 people dead and wounded. He added that Air Force bombed stores and bulldozers coming from Misrata and a warehouse for ammunition in Garyunis in Benghazi area. Al-Jiroushi also noted that bulldozers coming across Misrata provide support to terrorists. He pointed out that the Commander-in-Chief of Arab Libyan Armed Forces, General Khalifa Haftar, leads the battles himself, and everyone supports him for liberating the country and revenging for the martyrs. Commander of Tripoli Operations Colonel Idris Mahdi stressed that statements issued by military authorities in the western region about national unity government do not represent the opinion of the military institution, but reflect the views of only those who issued them. Mahdi noted that the western region operations condemned the forum held in Ajilat and considered these acts as violations of military orders. Mahdi's statement came after that military groups held a forum in Ajilat, chanted with phrases related to former regime, the matter that has aroused widespread criticism of the western region operations. Although his hand stained with the blood of martyrs, outgoing UN envoy to Libya Bernardino Leon is still trying to save the alleged Sekhirat agreement. Leon heads to Cairo to hold a series of discussions within the framework of his efforts to mobilize support for the Libyan dialogue. An Egyptian government source said Leon talks with Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri and Arab League Secretary General Nabil al-Arabi will focus on the situation in Libya, the results of the political agreement and means of its implementation. The UN envoy to Libya seeks to push international forces to influence and pressure the Libyan parties to accept his alleged government that was refused by parliament, and that the Libyan people went out in demonstrations declaring its refusal. Ministry of Justice has denounced deliberate rockets attacks by terrorist groups on peaceful demonstrations, killing 12 peaceful demonstrators and wounding dozens. The ministry stressed in a statement the need to try all the accused who are belonging to these terrorist militias and punish anyone committing a criminal offensive. The ministry urged all human rights organizations and civil society organizations to exert efforts in order to pressure the UN Security Council to reconsider the decision of banning the supply of arms to Libya that will in its turn enable the Arab Libyan armed forces to extend its control over the entire Libyan territory and restore security and stability to all Libyan cities. Local sources in third city said that the terrorist Daesh group crucified one of its elements in the city. The sources said that some elements of terrorist Daesh group said that the sacrificed person is a Sudanese element who tried to flee and was arrested at the east entrance of Sirte with salaries of $10,000 that he has received from the terrorist group since joining it. The terrorist group also crucified 2 Syrian elements trying to flee. As claims of innocence continue, head of the European Union mission to Libya, Natalia Obstolva, strongly condemned the terrorist attacks on demonstrators in Benghazi on Friday and expressed its condolences to the victim families. Obstolva stressed that these tragic events confirm the urgent need for achieving peace and the importance of unity. According to her claims, she noted that the EU adheres to ending the suffering of Benghazi people and supporting a unified Libya in war against terrorism. The protesters have declared their absolute rejection of continuing dialogue under United Nations auspices. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met Saudi Arabia King Salman on a diplomatic trip to the Middle East to discuss the conflict in Syria. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met with Saudi Arabia's King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud amidst a push for talks to bring about a political settlement to the conflict in Syria. The talks are expected to focus on the efforts to end Syria's 4 CVO and on the crisis in Yemen, where Saudi Arabia has led an Arab military intervention since March to try to restore President Abdurrahman Mansour Hadi's government and fend off what it sees as creeping Iranian influence. Saudi Arabia is the main regional opponent of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and is expected to join the talks along with Russia and Turkey. And now we transfer to Iraq. The U.S.-led coalition fighting terrorist Daesh militants in Iraq and Syria carried out 22 airstrikes, most of them against targets near the Iraqi town of Keska, Ramadi and Sinjar, the U.S. military said today. A coalition statement did not report any airstrikes in Syria. Coalition warplanes carried out 8 strikes around Kesk, targeting fighting positions, staging areas and mortar and a machine gun position. The military said in a statement. 5 strikes near Ramadi hit terrorist Daesh tactical units, sniper positions, a weapons cache and a vehicle, while another 5 near Sinjar hit fighting positions, assembly areas and an army cache, the military said. The military statement said coalition planes also hit targets near Beji, Fallujah and Mosul. Meanwhile, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair acknowledged the 2003 invasion of Iraq played a part in the rise of terrorist Daesh group and apologized for some mistakes in planning the war in an interview broadcasted today. And now about the immigration crisis. European Union leaders today consider sending hundreds of guards to its borders with the Western Balkans, as well as deploying more ships of Greece, as the bloc seeks to balance Germany's welcome for refugees with tougher security measures. Central and Eastern European leaders meeting in Brussels may agree to send 400 border guards and set up new checkpoints if they use frontier states drop their policy of giving arrival passage to other countries, according to a draft statement seen by Reuters that must still be agreed. Jean-Claude Juncker, the EU chief executive, has called leaders of Austria, Bulgaria, Croatia, Macedonia, Germany, Greece, Hungary and Romania, Serbia and Slovenia, plus refugee organizations involved, to attend the meeting in Brussels. Just 2 weeks after a fall EU summit, the meeting was sought by German Chancellor Angela Merkel, diplomats said. My audience, that is the wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website www.watanelkarama.tv. Thanks very much. My greeting, Rانيا البليدي.